3, 2, 1, go. All right. Hey guys, Greg with Planet Green Zen, and thank you for coming to my channel. Now, if you guys have never been here before, I got a treat for you guys. Got a special guest tonight. But before we get into that, what I do on this channel is I love to just inspire the world in 5 main areas of life. And those are mentally, physically, spiritually, financially, and socially, because I truly believe that if we all had a holistic yin and yang balance of each one of these areas and chocolate points, of that balance, we can live a world of peace. We'll abolish slavery, hunger, famine, disease, have more health, wealth, and happiness together. We could just enjoy this entire globe like we're meant to, without fear or segregation, any of that stuff. So if you guys believe in those types of messages, go ahead and subscribe, comment below, share these videos with people in your network or your tribe who needs to hear them, and let me know what you think. Okay, so I have a special guest for you guys. Actually, a close friend of mine. Her name's Rachelle Richard, and she's with Empowerment Experiences. It's her own business, and I want to interview her tonight because she has a powerful story. She's going to give you guys some great value. So go ahead and get your notebooks out, take copious notes, and yeah, let's get started. So how are you doing, Rachelle?
I am excited as always, Gregory. You are officially like my first interviewer ever, like doing this. This is so great. I love it. I usually am the one that has guests on stuff. Awesome.
That is awesome. Yeah, it's great. So thank you for coming on tonight and taking time out of your busy schedule to talk to me tonight and my audience. So just starting off, for people who don't know who you are or a little bit about you, can you just tell the audience like your journey or like who you are, what do you do, what's your business?
Well, let's see here. How much time do we have, Gregory? So we'll do the Cliff's Notes, of course, version. I'm originally from the sticks of Kansas. I actually came out to Arizona more than 17 years ago. I grew up, like I said, on a farm out there. I did not know what my journey was going to be about, as most of us don't. We end up falling into the, you got to grow up, go to college, get married, and have kids kind of thing. Well, I did not do that. I actually intentionally came to Arizona after my already unhealthy history of self-loathing, being suicidal by the time I was 12, unwanted, unloved. I was actually told I was a mistake by my mother when I was 14. And I always like to put a sidebar there and say, I do not blame her. I acknowledge that hurt people hurt people. The old version of me probably wouldn't be so understanding, and wasn't actually. It took my own journey of stepping into self-love and empowerment to learn this about the world and why my life went the way it did. I actually moved out to Arizona to get into the adult entertainment business, believing that I had no value. All of this was, again, a perpetuation of my lack of worth, believing that the only thing I had to offer the world was my body, that everything else was literally worthless. Which we now know, as we know, right, Gregory, that our outside world is a reflection of our inside world.
Yep. And
we are actually creating our life. And even though for a short time when I became an escort, which is a fancy term for a call girl or a higher class prostitute, is exactly what that is. I felt in control for a while. However, because again, that unworthiness back, running in the background, that everybody is against me, nobody really loves me, no one could, that came into play. And I ended up getting into a drug addiction with a drug dealer who was also a pimp. I have been assaulted, raped, beaten, gang raped. I was misdiagnosed bipolar, and I had severe anxiety, 7 years ago, this summer, actually 7 years ago, I couldn't even leave my house. I was so afraid of the world, and that's what happens when we keep going down that path. And we eventually do hit a brick wall and have a massive meltdown. And I did. To get to where Empowerment Experiences came, it was, kind of falling into, because when you and I met, Gregory, I was doing something very different. Yeah. Very different. Again, thinking that something tangible was the only thing that had value. Creating, those shadow boxes and such. But because of my unworthiness in that regard, that business did not work very well because I was not respecting myself and acknowledging my worth for what I had to offer. So it took that journey of a second round meltdown and not listening. I'm not sure how much time I have because I could tell a little story that actually got, because I know you like to do 10-minute clips.
No, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead and tell your story. Yeah, that's
All right.
yeah.
So exactly where empowerment experiences came into was it's actually been just almost 2 years. I was doing my best in my former business and not the escort business, but in my former creative business that I was trying so hard, in fact, trying too hard really to grow. I was trying to do creative classes and teach people to, express themselves. And I had met, or I actually started to see, creative classes weren't going very well. So I started to see on Facebook ads for how to teach a vision board workshop. I had mentioned nothing. I was searching nothing. And in truth, earlier that year in January, so this is May of 2017, in January, I had actually ripped my vision board off the wall, feeling like it was taunting me. That was still in that victim mindset. The world was happening to me. And by May, when that came up on Facebook, I didn't understand why I would be getting those, because we know how it works. It stalks you. So I didn't know. And I had just had my first ever Reiki session also around that time. And a week after I started seeing those ads, she turned and looked at me, and I had said nothing because I wasn't understanding why I was seeing those, but the universe, the universe, right? She turned and looked at me out of the blue and she says, "You ever thought about doing a vision board workshop?" And I looked at her kind of like flabbergasted, going, this is out of left field. So I didn't, and I bottomed out, because when we go against what the universe is guiding us to, I mean, we want to have a certain life, and we would already have that life if we were both already that version of ourselves. But if we knew how to get there, we don't get to know how to get there. We get to figure out what we want and why we want it. And then we've got to be open to surrender, to allow the universe to guide us to get there. Because again, we don't know how we're going to get there.
Oh, yeah.
We only have our past experiences, and those are very, very limited. That's why they're called limiting beliefs, right? So finally in that fall, it was September, I ended up getting guided to go to a special empath meeting, and did a card reading on my own. I'd never touched a tarot deck before, so it was kind of interesting. And it actually, I remember sitting there holding the deck on my book, because it was like a book group as well that we took with us. And I'm thinking in my mind, manifesting this, going, what am I supposed to do? Well, I've never had a deck of cards. So I have those doubts and fears going on, thinking, oh my God, I got to be a certain way. I got to do it special, or I'm going to mess it up. Remember, that's one of our biggest things, right? Is, oh my God, I'm going to mess it up. Oh my God, I'm going to make a mistake. And so we just don't experience. And all of a sudden the universe, because the universe has our backs, half that deck fell off onto the floor.
Wow.
And one card flipped up. One. And it was the card that spoke of meditation. Meditation may provide answers.
Wow.
And that was the first time I really got into that. And it's interesting to note that what I have truly discovered, and why I ended up stepping into self-love empowerment, is that we are so disconnected from our true selves. Mm-hmm. And the only way to revitalize that, to restore that connection, truly is through meditation and other aspects of being in that moment. Like when we do get creative and truly immerse ourselves, and time kind of disappears. And it wasn't 30 days later, I had done a vision board, a new vision board, and I did one completely different. And that's one of the things that I do, is I guide vision board creation experiences. I do not just do vision board workshops. I do a full-on experience. You'll have to try one, Gregory. We'll have to get you.
I will.
Do a private one. And so it's very different. It's an intuitively guided vision board that you create. It's not just taking these pictures where there's that gap of that deeper connection. Again, connecting to that true part of you. Why do you really want that car? Why do you really want that house? If you don't have that true depth of a meaning behind it, you're going to end up like me, ripping it off the wall, going, this shit don't work. And I hope I can use sentence enhancers, Gregory, because there is one. That's what I call them, sentence enhancers, when it's not appropriate. And this board, I mean, it was, and this in and of itself, I had a little bin of magazines, and I went to it, and I literally, again, this is all about that surrender of allowing the universe to guide you, your higher self to allow your path to unfold. And I said, all right, and the universe knows I'm a smart ass, of course. And I looked up to the universe and I said, because I'm a universe and source girl, I have a negative history with religion and God, which working through that, that's what we do, right? And I said, okay, you know so much. Tell me, because what I'm doing isn't working. That was literally what I said. What I'm doing isn't working, and so I don't know what to do. I literally was in that crossroads. So I'm like, then show me. Well, I pulled up the first magazine, and of course, the board is right over there, just out of reach, so I can't show you. But the very first magazine I pulled up out of just a small bin, literally the biggest words on that cover, Gregory, what's your true calling?
Wow.
And I chuckled, of course, and I looked up and I said, okay, you're so smart. Again, I say, you're funny. Tell me, please. And the next magazine, it wasn't the biggest thing that popped out. It was right over there, and it said, make a vision board that really works. And I'm like, so we're back here again at the vision boards? So, and that was it. Within 2 to 3 weeks after I created that vision board, which it was about doing vision board workshops and such, I had my first vision board class.
Awesome. That's
10 people.
That's amazing. Yeah. And guys, like I always tell you, for the ones who watch a lot of my videos, and if you're new, again, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve, like Napoleon Hill said. So again, thoughts become reality, whether good or bad. So again, I made a video and a blog, audio blog called "Your Subconscious Mind is Like a Personal Genie." So use it wisely. So you just want to be careful with that, because you can attract good or bad. That's why it's good to connect with people like Rachelle and people who have just like a higher understanding of their balance and vibration, just because they can help you understand yours, and you can teach other people. Each one teach one. So thanks for sharing it. That's awesome.
I love it. Love it.
Okay. Let's see. So next question I have for you is, so with your business and everything, what's your personal mission statement, and what are you trying to accomplish?
Oh, well, again, after, my wild and crazy self-loathing and anxiety-ridden, depression, overdose kind of life, my ultimate mission statement or vision statement for my company is, empowering goddesses to overcome worry, self-loathing, doubt, and fear, to discover and expand from within confidence, strength, worthiness, and love.
Awesome. I like it. That is great. And then, so with that, I mean, you kind of did answer it, but what made you choose this path? I know you were kind of led to it, and with everything, but what made you really want to go all in, say, this is what I meant to do?
I was a little girl growing up, always telling everybody that I was here to change the world. And in our limited ego mind, we try to figure out how we're going to do that, right? Based on what we're given. And that was no doubt what fed to all that heaviness and pressure. But when I started doing those vision board workshops, and I was having my class members come up and, talk to me and call me a coach and things, I literally resisted it. I'm like, what? That's not what I am, It's like, it was almost worse than being called a prostitute for a moment. I'm like, what? I'm a what? you're putting, I mean, because that's huge. It comes with, and as I say that, I see my own mindset going, wait a minute, I'm making it that huge. It is an honor to have this opportunity. In the beginning, I did not quite have the specific label of self-love empowerment coach. It was, kind of following the lead of some of the mentors I started to follow, going, okay, if this is what I'm doing, I better do some research. And at first it was intuitive life coach, because I know I'm highly intuitive. I'm a highly sensitive empath. So I have all of those gifts. However, what is my niche? What is my story? What has been my journey? My very first blog post, which I only have 2 right now actually up on my website, but I've got more that I've written. It's just getting them up there, is titled, Your Purpose is in Your Journey. The universe has been preparing each and every one of us throughout our entire lives for our highest calling in this realm. Yep. And it's always going to be up to us to step into that. And where, my massive program that I created, it actually came as a download. We talk in the woo-woo world where, those are all those inspired thoughts, or when you get this whole incredible vision that you begin to create and you feel so passionate and so intense about it that there is nothing that's going to stand in your way.
Yep.
That is that universe has your back kind of thing. That is your higher self. That is you in alignment, connecting with your purpose and your power and your path. And you run with that shit. You just hop on and say, giddy up and keep going. So it was, taking my power back from my mother, for that year. And it was a week before Christmas. Well, so many of my colleagues and I, when I share this story, they say, wow, this was your Christmas gift for taking back your power. I literally sat in front of the computer on Christmas Eve, and all 9 of the modules for my massive Fundamentals First program came to me. I was up until 4 a.m. Christmas morning designing this.
Wow.
And and it just goes through all these facets of life of empowering. And it's interesting to note, as we know, Gregory, it's all about knowledge. However, knowledge without implementation is useless.
Exactly. So they say knowledge is power, but not taking action on that knowledge is the true power. Because you can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you just sit there and not take action, it's just going to waste. So yeah, I totally agree with that.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Exactly. So yeah.
Okay. So based on, with your journey through life thus far and your experiences and the observations of people, why do you think it is that most people don't take action, or like they don't pursue their true dreams or passions or their true calling in life? Why do you think that is, that people just don't do it? Most people.
Fear. We have had so many negative experiences. So, I mean, whenever I hear the reminder that children are told no, some exponential number more than they're ever told yes, that's our programming. So our subconscious mind is what's truly running our lives. And those are our programmed beliefs. When I went to my very first self-improvement seminar several years ago now, I learned that our core beliefs, your worthiness, how easy life is, your money mindset, all of those core beliefs are actually installed in us by the time we're 5 years old. Mm-hmm. So we operate when our thoughts and beliefs are telling us one thing, our actions are always going to align with those thoughts and beliefs. So if you, for instance, I don't know, you want to go to India and you're just like, oh my God, that's so crazy. I never would have thought, that's just not possible. Well, guess what? Yes, it is. Everything is possible. It's just a matter of what you believe. And like, Napoleon Hill's quote, what I say is, whatever you think and believe is exactly what you create and receive.
Oh, it's very similar. Yeah, that's awesome. And like I always tell the audience, when you guys start to actually really unplug from the matrix and actually start to open your mind and get on the right frequency and vibration, you start to notice that the people who are on that path, they literally have the same message, like different people, but similar messages. Just goes to show you that just start to really listen and open your mind, because there's I live by a lot of quotes, and one goes, people who talk tend to repeat what they hear. People who listen tend to learn something. A lot of people just kind of repeat things, like you say with the paradigm, the multitude of habits that's programmed to us, that since we're kids, and then we go through life and adulthood, never really getting outside of that program and reprogramming our subconscious and our paradigm it's just powerful. So I want you guys to really listen to the messages here and actually absorb it and take action on what people are saying in these videos and other inspirational messages you hear in videos, but just want everybody to wake up. So wake up, people.
Right. Well, and I like to point out that because of those core beliefs, I'll have some of my goddesses who say, I swore I worked through this one. And I go, now listen, you have your core beliefs, but as you've gone through your life, as you've perpetuated those beliefs, you have attracted, based on your energy and your vibration and those beliefs, you have attracted more and more affirming relationships, situations, experiences to verify that belief, so that your ego mind can go, see, I told you. And it's like, but the same is true. And I love, once you really step into this and you start to actually play and you start to go and you look back and you go, oh, I fell out of alignment. And you go, oh, I very well can see where I fell out of alignment. I can see where I was in alignment, how all these amazing things were just falling into place. And then it seemed like, I woke up on the wrong side of the bed, which we really don't. That's another thing. We really don't. We choose what we think that first thought in the morning. We choose that. Look, that's why I got my thing here. I choose. Right? But we are always creating our world. Always, 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 always. And as these things come up that you thought you worked through, it's because everything is interwoven. It's been layer upon layer upon layer that has been piled upon you. So you're going to be working through some stuff for a minute.
Yeah, peeling back the onion layer. Just peeling back. There's got to break those paradigms and those barriers. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, okay. All right. I have another question for you. So, what are your thoughts on other people's opinions when it comes to, like, if you were to speak to the audience and someone is out there trying to, let's say, pursue a dream or something outside of the box, and they have family, friends that have negative opinions to what they're doing because it's something that's different. What would you say to those people who are going through that right now?
Embrace the crazy. Crazy is simply you doing something that's different. And here's the real of it. No two people see the world the same. And therefore, no two people are going to have the same path. Your life is for you to live it. And I promise you, if you ask yourself this question, what would I regret? If today were my last day, what would I have regretted?
Wow. Okay. Wow. That's powerful. Okay. So another quote I live by is, it says, there's many people have been schooled and very few have been educated. So why do you feel it's very important to be educated? And I'm not just talking about necessarily going to college and getting a degree. I mean, if you want to do that, that's fine. But, that doesn't mean you're necessarily educated just because you do that, because a lot of people go to just do that just because they think society is part of what they have to do. But then they're not really, they're depressed, they're sad, they haven't went through self-development. Those things we're talking about right now, they don't really teach necessarily in school. So why do you think it's important to be like educated on like a higher level of just reading a book and taking a test?
Well, first, I love that question, Gregory, because I don't even know if you know this about me. I actually went to college for 1.5 years.
Okay.
My degree, quote unquote, was I excelled in beer before liquor, never sicker, liquor before beer in the clear.
Never heard that. That's okay.
It's really actually quite true. It really, truly is. But it was because for myself, I could see through it. I was going through the motions. It wasn't a passion. And because when I stepped into being a coach, believe me, I had that whole major imposter syndrome and thinking I needed this big certification, and you don't, because I'm not like an actual life coach. I have a very special niche. However, one of my favorite quotes, I'm a huge Abraham Hicks fan, love. And I am always spewing this one out. Words don't teach. Only life experience gives understanding.
Hmm.
So when you, as we were talking about, knowledge is powerful. However, without implementation, it really is useless. You can know everything, and if you don't actually apply it, you might as well not even know it.
Yep.
So the same is like this. It's kind of like going to a business school and taking business classes from an individual who has never owned a business.
Exactly.
You know, and I love, you know, a mentor that I follow, she talks about, and I know we know a lot of these, you know, self-development gurus say this too, is that it's kind of like a doctor who smokes or a nutritionist who doesn't eat healthy, where if you take advice from someone who is at the opposite end of where you want to be, guess where you're going to end up? Where they are.
Yeah. Yeah,
so again, if you want different results, you've got to do something different. And that different is finding someone who is where you want to be. And something I've certainly had to come to find, Gregory, is that some of these mentors, you know, we're looking at these millionaires and we're like, oh, I want that mentor. But it's recognizing that we can't get from here to there. We've got to go, we're going A to Z, so to speak, along our journey. You have to hit every single letter along the way, because every single letter is a lesson. It is what is preparing you for what you are asking for. I mean, that's why so many people who win the lottery end up bankrupt, not just broke, but bankrupt.
Yeah.
Because that version, they weren't ready for it. They were not that person that could maintain and sustain $1 million lifestyle.
Yep. That's true. Wow, powerful. And another question for you. So what have people thanked you for the most? When you think about it, it's something that just reoccurs.
being such a light, you know, I definitely say that we are truly here to find our light within and, you know, reclaim our power and then illuminate the path for others to follow. You know, I hear so much of keep being the example. A lot of my goddesses in my goddess tribe on Facebook, for all the goddesses out there, it's Love Yourself Daily Goddess with Empowerment Experiences. But so many of them, they're like, oh, we love when Coach is fired up. Oh, well, you know, and how often I hear, oh my God, I so needed to hear that today. You said exactly. Oh, I love your Facebook lives. I love what you, and, you know, we all have programs. The difference is, when do you stop negotiating with them, right? So a program, a big one of mine, I'm sure you can probably relate to a certain degree at some point in time, Gregory, is when no one's commenting or you don't really have but one or two people live. And what I really, really love that really just kind of makes my heart expand is when someone reaches out to me and says, I really, really do love your lives. I'm so glad you said that. And I'm going, really? You never comment? You never do anything? So people are watching.
Yeah.
Watching. And your light truly is illuminating the path, because most of these people who are still in the dark, they're afraid to come out. That's the fear. That's the illusion.
Oh yeah, I can 200% relate to that. Like exactly what you said, where it's like, say, I may have a video or something to where there's no likes or comments on it, but then someone would reach out to me on Facebook like, hey, thank you for the inspiration. Now you're motivating me to either start my YouTube channel or pursue something else outside of this what I'm doing currently. So thank you for that. And that, you know, like they're saying, you'd rather walk with one than drag 1,000. It's like that one person is what it was for to reach that one person. So it's totally true.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so actually on the opposite, so what is something that you failed at? Because, you know, a lot of times where we, like you said, we see these gurus, they're millionaires and these famous people, but they never show like their journey, like the failure to success. So what is something that you failed at that you don't mind sharing?
Well, and I love this because again, doing the mindset that I do, it's the word failure has such a heavy negative context around it. So I actually have come into the belief that there really is no such thing as failure, because failure are actually more like those challenges, those opportunities to learn and grow. And since we choose the meaning we give to things, We can instead, I remember having this amazing quote that came to me a few months ago. In every perceived mistake can be found a divine blessing. So, and secondly, you don't really make mistakes, because no matter what, and I stress this, no matter what, whatever decision you make is always the right decision in that moment. Because whether or not it turns out how you desired it to, or it became simply a lesson, you learned something. You gained something from that. You are better because of that than you were before that. So you can look at it as being a failure and go, oh, I was, so in terms of failure for me, wow. I actually tend to not look at what the failures are. For a while, I did look at my former business as one, because I actually tried, and that was the thing, is I tried. I tend to point out that try is an escape hatch for the ego. I tried at that business for nearly 10 years.
Wow.
And so some would go, oh my God, that was a failure. No, for me, it was education.
Yeah.
Hands-on learning how to run a business. Now I get to focus on the other, facets of where my weaknesses have been, and be turning those into greater strengths. That's what we're here. We are on a perpetual going and growing journey. And since we choose the meaning, you can always see it as a positive.
Wow. Thank you. Yeah. Like I always say, like the definition of failure is not failing, it's quitting. So, and it's like a learning lesson. Like it's, again, like you said, because when we go to school, we get an F on a paper. That means that we failed, that, we see ourselves as being stupid or dumb, and other kids laugh at you like, oh, wow, you got an F, you're stupid. How did you get an F? And then, sometimes you can't retake tests, but it's like, that's programmed to us that, okay, you only get one chance. You don't fail. You can't mess up. You have to do it right the first time. And life is about failing forward. Because think about it, if that's the case, we would all be slithering on our bellies, because as kids, when you learn to walk, you fall and fall and fall until you wobble, then you take one step, and a kid doesn't have that paradigm in them, so they don't care. They're happy when they're trying to walk. They're laughing and excited to fail, or
right.
So that's just something that we have to kind of get the gunk out of us. They say, oh, wow, you guys are so happy, and that you self-help people or all this stuff. I said, because we had our brains washed, or literally got the gunk washed out of our brains.
That's right. We're doing the work. We're cleaning up the mess. We've got to. It's about letting go of blame, because there's blame and responsibility, and you're either in one side or the other. And blame, there is no power there. That is relinquishment of power. It's it's acknowledging where your responsibility is, and knowing that I can't change that. I cannot change anybody else. Wait a minute. True change can only begin when I choose to truly change.
Wow. I love it. Love it. Okay. So if you were to get a hold of a DeLorean to go 88 miles per hour, or for the people who are not nerds like me, just say a time machine and go back.
I knew what you were talking about.
Some of the audience may not know what is a DeLorean. But if you were to get a hold of a time machine and go back in time, maybe to a slightly younger version of yourself, since you're only like 21, so if you're like 10 years, like 11, 10 years ago. What is something that now that you wish you have known maybe earlier, maybe 5-10 years ago, that you may have maybe tell yourself, or if you even would do that, like if you were to go back in time, see a younger version of yourself, what advice would you give that person?
I'm glad you put that little snippet right there, that if you would.
If you would.
Because I firmly believe in the whole ripples in a pond. Mm-hmm. That if you change one thing about your past, you will change everything about today. Mm-hmm. And I know for me, where I am, do I want to repeat any of the shit I went through? No, not really. However, I am not willing to change where I am today, because I really do love what is unfolding in my life. I mean, it's both scary and exciting AF. There's where I'm going to use the little acronym. It really is. It's both scary because it's all new, unknown. It's an uncomfortable, uncertain, versus an uncomfortable certain. It's like, I'll take the uncomfortable uncertain because it's got to be better over here. And it is. Yeah. You know, it's like going, wait a minute, I now have so much knowledge because of all those experiences that I had, because now I get to look back and have all of those reference points along my timeline and go, oh, yeah, I can see how I actually perpetuated that. Because people would say that, well, how can you say that we did this to ourselves? We did. It was what you were believing about yourself and the world around you. If you believe that people are cruel and unkind and abusive, guess what? You're going to be attracting those kinds of people.
Oh, yeah.
And I look at you, Gregory. I look at the people in my life now, and it's just like, no, I would not change a single thing, because I am not willing. I'm not a gambler either in that regard. You know, I'll take those chances, but in terms of gambling like that and going back, no. It might change everything about today, and I'm not willing to do that. Absolutely not. I'm grateful for my journey.
Great. That was a trick question, by the way. No, you passed.
Yeah.
Okay, and then kind of just noted I guess the last question I have for you, if you were to maybe just sum up everything, and what words of advice or words of wisdom or something that you would give the audience, like a word of advice or something to give the people listening who just need to hear something to keep them going, keep the momentum going.
Worthy. That's what's coming up. Is one word: worthy. You are so worthy. One of my favorite affirmations that I give my goddesses and anybody out there is that your very existence is evidence of your infinite worth. You are one in billions, and we're talking even trillions throughout the entire span of humanity. You are one of a kind, priceless gem. And again, nobody can tell you what your life looks like. Nobody can tell you if you're wrong or right. Only you can be that decider for you. You know, so take responsibility for you and acknowledge that, you know what, this is my life, and I'm going to live every single moment this time around, because I do believe in reincarnation and all that fun stuff. But this time around, I only have this much time for this life. So acknowledge that you are so worthy of all your visions, hopes, and dreams, all of them. And you're the only one who stands in your way of making them happen.
Wow, so true. And how can actually people connect with you? If they want to connect with you, maybe see some of your stuff, ask you questions, well, how can they connect with you?
I'm on a couple different platforms. Obviously, I do have the good old-fashioned email, empowermentexperiences@gmail.com. I do have some business people who go, why don't you make it a business email? I'm like, because I love my Gmail. Yeah. You know, why? I'm one of those where if it ain't broke, don't fix it, because we got a whole lot of other fixing to do over here. You know, and then I am on Instagram and Facebook, Empowerment Experiences. I'm actually Empowerment Experiences across the board. I do have a YouTube channel. However, YouTube, you have to have 100 subscribers to get your personalized handle. So I'm working on that. So go subscribe. We'll put the link, I'm sure, below the video here, and you can do that. And then because I do tend to have a lot of women who have had negative pasts with men. You know, I mean, who better, right, than to guide them out of that, to say they're not all that way. I have a closed Facebook group. I call it my Goddess Tribe. And again, it's Love Yourself Daily Goddess with Empowerment Experiences. And you're always welcome to come join the tribe. I do Facebook Lives. I'm actually going to be doing more lives on I'm going to start doing lives on my business page. So you guys will get all of that wonderful guidance there as well. So yeah, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, working on Pinterest. Not really a Twitter. I don't tweet much, except for Rock and Robin tweet.
Oh yeah, I know. Bring back the oldies.
Yeah, that's it. I like them all. Great. If it feels good, let's do it.
Yeah, great. And I will have all of those links in the description, guys, in cannot write it down or you don't know how to spell certain words, don't worry. I'll have all those. You just click on the link. It'll take you straight to Rachelle. You can connect with her directly. So just want to thank you for your time, Rachelle. Thank you for coming here and just getting in, serving this community with your knowledge and wealth and your energy and everything to just help inspire people to just keep going, pushing forward, and just elevate to that next level, and that just evolve to the next level in life. So thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much for having me. This was awesome. I loved it.
All righty, guys. So again, Greg with Planet Green Zen. Again, if you guys like this content, please share it out with people in your community, your tribe who needs to hear it. Comment below. Let me know your thoughts. If you let me know what other topics you want me to cover. Again, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and I will talk to you guys soon. So again, Greg with Planet Green Zen. You guys have a great day.